This episode is brought to you by Nordstrom. Summer's almost out and fall's calling. Luckily, Nordstrom has everything you need for the season ahead, all under $100. Discover new arrivals from your favorite brands like Mango, Princess Polly, Wave, Free People, BDG, and more. Whether you're planning a last-minute getaway, heading back to class, or refreshing your office looks, you'll find the latest trends and beauty must-haves without breaking your budget. It's easy, too, with free shipping, free returns, and in-store order pickup. Shop today, in stores, and at Nordstrom.com.
This episode is brought to you by Espolón Tequila. Slow, sticky, snoozy. They call these the dog days of summer. But Espolón? They don't do boring. Welcome to the Marg Days. Espolón Tequila. 100% blue Weber agave, born to shake up your summer. Just add lime, agave, and a little attitude. Visit EspolónTequila.com. Espolón Tequila, 40% alcohol, volume 80 proof. Copyright 2025 Campari America, New York, New York. Drink responsibly.
All right, thank you, Scott Shannon. Thanks to all of you for being with us. Write down our toll-free telephone number if you want to be a part of the program. It's 800-941-SEAN. If you want to join us, we will preview our trip. I've been to every state in the country except Alaska. This week will end that. After this week, God willing, I will be in Alaska for the Trump-Putin summit. And that means I will have been at least once to every state in the entire country, which I'm very proud of. And the weird thing is I love Alaska. I'm obsessed with its rugged individualism. I love shows like Life Below Zero, and I love Deadliest Catch when, these crabbers go out in the Bering Sea in the most unbelievable conditions, and they go out for king crab. And we talked to Mike Rowe about this last week. So we will give you a big preview of all of that coming up in the course of the program today. We have more of the big gerrymandering fight. We have Zoran Marxist Mamdani news that we're going to share with you. As we're coming on the air here, I'm not going to go to it now. We have the D.C. Mayor Muriel Bowser reacting to President Trump this morning, announcing that he will federalize D.C. police, deploy National Guard troops in an effort to fight crime. The president has invoked Section 740 of the District of Columbia Home Rule Act, which would place the city's Metropolitan Police Department under direct federal control. And I'm listening to the mayor. You would think that this is a city that is free of crime and one of the safest places, best places on earth. And nothing is further from the truth. She's talking about how great their pre-K starting at 3 is, and we have the best, everything, and this is, we don't have representation, and she's turning this into we should have D.C. statehood, et cetera, et cetera. Let me just start with the reality. If you look at capital cities around the world and their homicide rate per 100,000, by far and away, D.C. has the highest rate, and countries that you would not expect are far lower than what's going on in D.C. The homicide rate per 100,000 people in D.C. is 41. The next highest is Uruguay, 16.1% per 100,000. The next highest is Baghdad in Iraq, 15.2 per 100,000. Remember, D.C., 41. The next one is Nigeria, 15. Panama City, Panama, 14.3. Brazil, 13. Costa Rica, 13. Bogota, Colombia, 11. Bolivia, 10.7. Mexico City, Mexico, 8 compared to D.C.'s 41. Lima, Peru, 7. Ethiopia, 6. Buenos Aires, Argentina, 5.5. Estonia, 5.5. Kenya, Nairobi, 5. Havana, Cuba, 4 per 100,000, the murder rate. San Salvador, El Salvador, 1.9. Istanbul, Turkey, 1.8. So the president is looking at these numbers and he's saying, you know what? This has got to stop. And the president pointed out, he called it Liberation Day in D.C. and says we're going to take our capital back. He then criticized the crime in D.C., compared the crime statistics to other cities around the world, other capital cities around the world. And then he pointed to the attack on this guy from Doge, better known as online as Big Balls. And this was a guy that was trying to help out a woman that was being brutally beaten and an attempted carjacking and an attempted killing of a congressional intern in D.C. in a shooting that took place, among other incidents. And the president also said he's going to get rid of the poverty in the slums in D.C. He said at his press conference he wants to change the statute on bail in D.C. I mean, this is another one of these defund, dismantle, no bail law, reimagine the police insanity cities. And he said the radical left city council adopted their no cash bail. And every place in the country you have no cash bail, where you have it, it's a disaster. And he's not wrong. And he said somebody murders somebody and they're out on no cash bail before the day is out. We're going to end that in Chicago, he continued. We're going to change the statute. I spoke with Pam Bondi and Todd Blanche. I talked to everybody. We will change the statute. And I'm going to have to get Republicans to vote because Democrats are weak on crime, and they are weak on crime. And the reaction is very predictable, which I'll get to in a second. He said that D.C. has become unsafe, dirty, and disgusting. It's covered in graffiti. I don't know when's the last time he's been to New York City, but we're talking about beautification of D.C. And, you know, people come from all over the country, Iowa, Indiana. They come, they get mugged. Not going to happen. Keep coming. And by the time you get your trip set, it's going to be safe again. And he's going to put enough police presence. Now, he's declaring martial law. The left is going crazy. No, he's not. How many more people have to be mugged? How many more people have to be raped? How many more people have to be killed? And why don't Democrats care about it? That's what I'd like to know. The president said, I heard a number of 3,500 police. He said they're inadequately staffed. There's 3,500, he said, and I thought you were only going to say 30 policemen or men and women. You have 3,500, but he said we need more. We need a lot more. And he said the administration is going to be removing homeless encampments in D.C. I mean, you have homicide, sexual abuse, assault with a dangerous weapon, 534 incidents as of this morning, and 898 robberies as of this morning, 99 homicides as of this morning. And total violent crime, 1,586 as of this morning. And these numbers are out of control. Property crime, 14,093. You know, theft, auto theft, 3,720. Other theft, 7,023. It's insane. And you know what? I think the country's capable of doing better. My answer, and then you have predictable people like Al Sharpton was a big opponent of Rudy Giuliani and stop and frisk. They went from 3,000, close to 3,000 murders a year down to about 300 because police, number one, they got the number of police levels up higher. As of today, they're about 11,000 short of where they need to be, which is around 41,000 officers, to cover the 10, 12 million people, however many people live in New York City. And, Al Sharpton fought Rudy Giuliani every step of the way, but lives were saved. And a lot of lives were saved in predominantly minority neighborhoods. And you would think that that would be a goal of everybody, that's not something anybody should disagree with. And they used crime statistics as a means of where they were going to concentrate a more heavy police presence. But I guess we shouldn't be too surprised. Reverend Al is actually objecting to Trump's crackdown on rampant crime. Well, what's his answer? How is it all these blue cities, blue states, they seem to care the most about people, and their silence is deafening? Anyway, New York Times and the Washington Post report the Trump administration will put 120 FBI agents from their regular duty and deploy them on night patrol with law enforcement officers in D.C. Now, if you have that much crime going on in your city, you would think you would welcome that with open arms, but apparently not. Remember, one of the things that they had an opportunity before January 6th, knowing so many people were coming to Washington, D.C., it was Donald Trump, as backed up by then acting Defense Secretary Miller, backed up by his chief of staff, Kash Patel, backed up by Mark Meadows, backed up by General Milley, and Trump himself. They had tried to call up the National Guard knowing so many people were coming. No, they didn't want it. And Muriel Bowser put a stop to it. And even Nancy Pelosi, in her own words, admitted, oh, yeah, this is my fault. I don't know. Did you see the picture of this Doge guy, Big Balls, and the crap that he got beaten out of? You know, why do we accept all of this homelessness? You know, this goes back to what I have said about where Nancy Pelosi lives in San Francisco. 1 mile from her home in a really wealthy gated community with multi-million-dollar mansions on one side. And on the other side of this is an encampment where people are shooting up in the street, defecating in the street, urinating in the street. And I'm like, well, why don't you get together with your millionaire friends? Everybody pitch in $100,000 or whatever it takes. You build a homeless shelter. You feed them 2 meals a day. You give people a place to shower. And maybe you hire a couple of mental health experts to help out people with drug addiction or mental health issues that they might have and actually do something, because liberals are only generous with other people's money. There was an article I read today, Hoover Institute. Despite California spending a whopping $24 billion on homelessness since 2019, homelessness increased by about 30,000. How do you get it so wrong spending that amount of money, just like the train to nowhere? Anyway, so the president announced the federal takeover of the D.C. Police Department. I guarantee you the police department is probably going to be happy. And if you get rid of defund, dismantled, no bail laws, they'll even be happier. So the president tackling what is a problem. Now, what is the alternative to this? To continue to let things spiral out of control. Homes get robbed, people get carjacked, people die, people get murdered, people get raped. At what point do you say, maybe it's a good idea to have more of a law enforcement presence for the safety and security of the law-abiding people that live in our towns and cities? You know, when is America going to come to grips with the fact that police officers, by and large, there are exceptions. By and large, the 99% of them are there to put their lives on the line to keep you and your family safe and secure. There are a few bad apples, definitely. A few bad apples everywhere. But you got to root them out also. Anyway, he declared his intention to relocate D.C.'s homeless population far from the U.S. Capitol. I mean, they have all of this money. Where are generous liberals? I thought they cared so much about other people. But you see, the left is only generous with your money. If they care so much about homelessness, 1 mile from Nancy Pelosi's house, we sent our cameras there. We have the videotape. People shooting up drugs, defecating in public because there's no place to go. She lives with millionaires. The president talked about looking into her stock investments. Apparently, one of the most successful stock investors in the entire country. We'll give you a preview of this Trump-Putin summit. I don't really know how we're going to define winning. I do know this. I do hope the president is successful. Now, if you look at the president's track record, the president's actually been pretty successful at bringing peace to the world, and he really has gone a long way in helping to bring peace around the world. I mean, when India and Pakistan and their tensions were flaring up, he got involved and he was able to put a quick end to that. 12 days with Israel and Iran, he was able to put a quick end to that and knock out Iran's nuclear facilities. Rwanda and the Congo, he was able to put an end to that conflict. Serbia, Kosovo, Thailand, Cambodia, and on Friday, Armenia and Azerbaijan. And don't forget Egypt and Ethiopia. That was the number 7. I mean, that's a lot that he's had. Now, I do think a lot of things have happened that have created an environment, not the least of which is the trade deal that the president struck with Western European allies and nearly $1 trillion in energy commitments that they're going to buy their energy from the U.S. instead of buying it from Putin and Russia, which has only been funding his war machine. Secondly, the president putting the 50% tariff on India if they're going to continue to purchase cheap energy from Vladimir Putin. You know, as soon as you start hitting Putin in the pocketbook, that then reduces his capability in terms of being able to fund his war machine. And that's exactly what is going to work with Iran, too. I mean, Iran was on the verge of bankruptcy until Joe Biden became president. Anyway, we'll give you a preview of all that. We also have Newt Gingrich, Lindsey Graham on all of this, and it's in keeping with President Trump's doctrine, which is no forever wars. Listen, we got more news on the tariff front. A 200% proposed tariff on medications is anticipated. One of the best parts that the president has been able to secure is that pharmaceuticals over time are going to be made here, but they're not made here now. Anyway, that could lead to a huge increase in the price for emergency medications, prescriptions, your daily medications, and potentially lead to shortages. There is an alternative, thank God, for modern medicine, because that's where Jace Medical comes in. Take action now, and you can secure for you and your loved ones the health and the medications you need ahead of time in case these prices go through the roof. Now, Jace Case. Get your Jace Case. I have one. I take it every time I travel. I'll take it to Alaska with me on Thursday, when I leave Thursday. 10 prescription antibiotics and emergency medications that you'll have available when you need them, not have to wait the next day or wait a week. And the most affordable, secure way to get these essentials is to go and get them at jase.com now. They have up to 12 months supply of your daily prescription medicines. When prices shoot up, shortages take place, it'll be too late. Every family needs emergency medications just in case. Anyway, if you enter the promo code Hannity, when you go to jase.com, you'll get a $25 discount on your order. Everybody needs this. You prepare for a rainy day, right? Okay, prepare for the, God forbid, somebody gets sick in the middle of the night and you don't want to need a medication that your local pharmacy doesn't have. Get your Jace Case today. jase.com. Check it out today.